Hey there, Coach Devin here. We're going to talk a little bit about pre-workout drinks. And pre-workouts have been around for a little while. You probably have seen people on Instagram and all kinds of different social media on there chugging pre-workout, shotgunning the pre-workout, dumping it in their mouth and swishing around with water and firing it all down. People are now using pre-workout more than ever. Pre-workout's been around for a long time. Basically, it's a bunch of minerals, vitamins, and caffeine to get you pumped up for a workout. The idea is, when you're tired, you're a little sluggish, you don't feel like working out. Well, guess what? You take some of this and you have instantaneous energy. I remember I had a client of mine, Laura, and she came in and she's like this, Devin, I'm so tired. I don't want to work out. And she came in and she was sitting down. I actually was in the office. I don't sit in the office very often, but I happened to be sitting in the office, and she came in and she sat down on the floor and said, I am so tired right now. And she was drinking her pre-workout right then. She likes her pre-workout. And she drank it. About 10 minutes later, she was like, all right, we're ready to work out. Let's go. It was very quick. So does pre-workout work? Number one, that's the first question. Is it healthy? Is it good for you? Is it necessary? Is it number two? Or maybe number two is it healthy? Number three, is it necessary? Let's go with three. Let's call it three. Okay, so pre-workout, does it work? Yes. Insofar as it will make you feel hyped up. I mean, in reality, you drink a big cup of coffee with a ton of sugar in it. Similar feeling. It really is. That's a fact. The beta-alanine in it, you know what? It'll make your ears tingle, your face tingle, your lips tingle. Sometimes they put other things in it that make you itchy, and, you just feel, you kind of feel pissed off. That's the best way to put it. You feel hyped up and kind of pissed off at the same time. Now, positives and negatives to that. Does that work? Yes. Are you going to push yourself a lot harder? 100%. If you're all jacked up on caffeine and a bunch of other minerals, vitamin B and all this other stuff in there to hype you up, yeah, you're going to be more hyped up. You're going to feel like, all right, I'm ready to go. Yes. Here's where the problem is. All right, so number one, not everybody really likes it. And number two, some people feel sick. When I have it, I tend to feel ill. I just do. I feel kind of sick to my stomach, which is not helpful when you're working out. I remember one time I had this pre-workout. I think it was called like Hyde, like Jekyll and Hyde. I think that's what it was called. Anyway, it was kind of nasty. It was red. I remember it was very red. I drank it. I started to work out, and I ended up in the bathroom vomiting. And I threw it all back up. Ruined my workout completely. Wasn't fun. Just not a fun experience. So not everybody loves pre-workout. It just doesn't work with people. And this side note to that, does it work? Yes, it does get you pumped up. You are going to feel more hyped. Same thing would happen if you drank a big cup of coffee, really. Pop some, caffeine and ephedrine pills. That would do it too. The issue that concerns me is, so number one, does it work? Yes, it does work. But, is it healthy? That's a good question. How healthy is something that gets you that hyped up? Probably not that healthy. Do you need a ton of beta-alanine and vitamin B and caffeine to have a good workout? Well, if you do, I could understand it from time to time, but if this is like a regular occurrence, you have problems. And the reason you have problems is because your body will build up a resistance to anything. So if you take an Advil every day because you have headaches, sooner or later, guess what? Now that one Advil doesn't work anymore. You need two. And then three. That's how your body works. So anything you have with regularity, your body will get used to it. That's how fitness works. That's how your body works. It's trying to make sure that it can handle everything. So when if it gives you a pump up at the beginning, like one scoop, yeah, that pumped me up, and you do it 3 times a week. Okay, great. You have some down days. But if you're doing it 6 days a week, guess what happens? Now you're used to it. When you're used to it, what happens then? Bad things. It means you can't feel it anymore. You get less. You're like, I don't really feel pumped up anymore. So what do? You take a scoop and a half, then he takes 2 scoops. Suddenly your level is through the roof. You're taking way more caffeine than necessary. That means you're not sleeping. The beta-alanine's through the roof. The vitamin B is through the roof. And all those things, like anything, a little bit of something is fine. A lot of something quite often is bad for you. That's just how life is. If you drink one drink every day, it's not going to hurt you. If you have 10 drinks a day, you got a problem. And the same thing happens with alcohol as happens with pre-workout. You'll build up the ability to drink it and not have an effect. If you have one beer and you feel a little buzzed, okay, great when you're a kid. You have 3 beers as an adult because you're used to drinking beer, you're not getting that same buzz. It's more and more and more, right? So in my estimation, I would say not very healthy. It's not good for you. That's not, it's not something that is going to be a positive thing for you to do. It's just health-wise, probably not a great idea. And when you get down to it, and let's talk about the real question here, do you really need it? Is this necessary? Well, the problem, I would argue, is we are all living in a chronically sleep-deprived world. Everybody's busy. Everybody's on their phones. I'm on my phone right now. You know what I mean? We're all on our phones. You're probably on your phone watching this. So we're on our phones at night, later than we should be up. We're sleeping 6 hours a night, 5 hours a night when we need 8. Guess what? You're tired. All the time tired. People are chronically sleep deprived. And that's a bad thing. Your body can't heal when you're sleep deprived. You can't get more fit when you're sleep deprived. But worse, you can't push yourself very hard when you're sleep deprived. And listen, I'm the first guy to admit it. Sometimes I don't, I'm not jacked up to work out because I'm tired. I don't always sleep really well. I tend to fall asleep fast, can't stay asleep. I'll wake up 2 or 3 times a night, sometimes 5 times in a night. That's just how I've always been. It's very frustrating. Can't stay asleep. So if I only sleep for 5 or 6 hours, guess what? I'm a guy that gets up at, 10 after 5 in the morning. If I'm getting up at 10 after 5 in the morning, I've only slept 5 or 6 hours, you know what, 3 or 4 days later, I'm exhausted. I'm falling asleep everywhere, right? Well, then that's when people start taking pre-workout to get themselves hyped up so they can push themselves through workouts. The problem is you need more sleep. I would argue that pre-workout is absolutely not necessary. If you're somebody who likes it, great, go do it. But I would tell you, I have been working out for a long time. I started working out when I was 14 years old. I have been a trainer for 26 years. I'm now 46, by the way. So I'm 32, almost 33 years into exercise as a regular occurrence. I've taken pre-workout sometimes, for sure. I have found that I can get myself going better if I get a good night's sleep, my food is good, and I just say, okay, Devin, go to work. Rather than looking for a chemical thing to get me going, I rely on natural. And you know what? Natural is going to be better for you because if you're getting 200 or 300, 400, 500, 600, 700, 800, like some people are, milligrams of caffeine in a day, and you're way over all these other minerals like beta-alanine and vitamin B, that's not good for you. On a side note, I don't want to be chemically hyped up because then you can't sleep at night anyway. You're actually making the problem worse. That's what's happening here. You're making the problem worse than it was. So what am I suggesting when it comes to pre-workout? Should you use it? I'm not going to tell you not to do something because I think a little bit of anything is fine. To an extent, obviously. Hardcore drugs, not a good thing. Don't do them. I'm not saying that. There's always somebody who takes it too far, right? And they're going to say, well, Coach Devin said that it was fine to do whatever, eat Tide Pods. No, one Tide Pod is too many. Heavy narcotics, that's too much. What I'm saying is a little bit of pre-workout won't hurt you. It's not going to kill you. It's not a bad thing. But if you get into the habit where you're doing it all the time, you have a problem. And that problem will be you will not be able to stop. And when you do stop, it's like being addicted to coffee. You're drinking it all the time. You stop doing it and you're getting headaches. You feel crappy. And then for pre-workout, you're not going to feel like you can perform at the level you want to perform. I would suggest that pre-workout is a once-in-a-while thing. It's not an everyday thing. Don't do it as an everyday thing. Do it as a once-in-a-while thing. If you're tired, you know what, you've been up late or whatever, yeah, you do it once a week. Once a week is enough, even twice a week. That's enough. Stop there. Don't do more. It's not good for you. It's not necessary, and it's not going to help you long term because you're not teaching yourself how to pump yourself up, how to be able to do this naturally, how to eat healthy foods, how to get enough sleep. You're not learning those things. You are putting a Band-Aid on a gaping wound. And I don't think that's healthy. And I'm a big proprietor. For me, it's all about the health. It's about being more healthy and making good decisions. If you have comments, questions, things you want me to talk about, fire them in. Comment down below. I would love to hear from you. Everything I do pretty much now on here is people messaging me saying, Devin, what do you think of this? Somebody today messaged me and said, Devin, I use pre-workout, 5 and 6 times a week. Is that bad? Am I hurting myself? And I said, you know what? I don't think it's going to kill you, but I will make a video on that and I'll explain what my thoughts are on that because I've seen it a lot. So if you have comments and questions, comment. I'd love to hear from you. Have yourself an amazing day, everybody. Stay off that pre-workout. Don't use too much of it. Don't fight the awesome.